Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today is the first of my planning videos and I wanted to do today's video on the Hobonichi that I am using for this year. This is the Galen Leather A5 planner cover. It's beautiful, it's big, it's thick, it's quite heavy. Review of this is coming. This is the cover I'm using on my Hobonichi. I like leather for covers and things. I like the fact that it starts to age, and I've been carrying this a little bit because I've been having to plan ahead. So I've been using this already. I just want to show the setup. I've marked out the pages that I want to show you because there is also some stuff in here that is my life, and well, I love you all dearly, but let's just keep it let's take things slow, guys. Okay, so this is the cover. I want to show you what I've got. So what we have is the standard Hobonichi Cousin. This is the Techo 2022, so it's all in 2022. It's all in one book, and it's got the multiple systems. So you've got like the 6 months at a glance, you've got the monthly, you've got the weekly, you've got the daily, which is great. So I wanted to show you, run through some of the different bits and pieces, simply because I wanted to show you how I'm using it and how I plan to use it, because I think it's really interesting to see how other people do things. So firstly, we have, first page I open up to is the standard calendar. Now, I don't use this other than like, if someone asks what date it is in, next year or whatever it might be, because it's got the current year, last year and next year. So that's handy to have. It's a very simple layout. I like the fact that there's red for the, for the weekends and things like that, and it's handy. It's good to sort of have that. Okay. The next thing we have is the at a glance spread. And so what this has is it has each month, January, February, March, etc. And then the days listed, weekends marked, and then space for some notes and things. What I do use this for is for sort of like this is more for my performing side of things and the planning and the, like what is when. So I can put like, this is this period for this, and this is when this show is, and I can see at a glance, like if I'm involved in something at the time. It's really, once again, it's a very handy, simple format. This kind of, in a way, is like a future log that you would have, or for like a bullet journal, where you can actually like mark out what's coming up ahead, and that's very, very, very handy. Okay, next we have the monthly. Now I've just opened up to the December because it has the December for the last year in it, or for this year. What I use this for, this is my social media planner. So I'm going to do an example here. So let's say that on the 12th of December, I wanted to make a video about the Hobonichi. I'll write Hobonichi and I can plan that out. So I've got that written in. I know what video is going in on that day, and then I can, what I tend to do is I have like key or a signifier as to where I'm at with that video. So this is, once it's written in, it's scheduled, and everything I write in here I'm using grey lead for, because everything I put in here is movable. There is nothing in my life that stays the same constantly. It's fun. Okay, so once it's filmed, I put an F. Easy. Edited, an E. Uploaded, a U. Then if I've got a social media post to go along with it, or if I want to, I put a square, and then once I've got that, I cross it off. Once all of that is complete, I'll circle the date, meaning that that video is all set, ready to go. Everything is scheduled, everything is set out. Then, of course, after the 12th, once it's gone live, I put a cross through it so I know where I'm at. Very simple. That is how I plan out all my videos. I have planned out already, with the exception of spaces for things that sort of come in the meantime, I have already planned out through to close to July. So I'm that, I know the videos I have to do in the order in which I'm having to do them. And then when things come in, I can either rejig or I leave some spaces. And that's how I do that. The next spread we have here is, or the next set of spreads we have is the weekly spreads. These are like how I put in the monthly spread, or the at a glance one, I put like what, like period I was doing a certain show for. This allows me the ability to plan, and because like planning rehearsals and things like that, having a week at a view is really very handy. So let's say that on the 2nd of January, I have a rehearsal from 12 to 4. I can mark from 12 till 4, and then put rehearsal, whatever that rehearsal may be for. And then you're done. And then so I can have that like all information there. I like the fact that it's got the time delineated across. So when you're looking at, you can see where the gaps are and where the holes are. And as I said, everything in grey lead, which means that I can just simply erase it if that changes. It's very handy. I like having a weekly spread like this. I used to use the horizontal spreads. I prefer the weekly because it lines up also with things like how I see my iCalendar or my Google calendars is all this layout. So this lines up with that. So they tend to sort of look the same. The next one we have is the dailies. Now the daily for me, this is a combination of a number of things. Firstly, at the start of each month, we have a page here that is kind of blank. What I use this for is my monthly task list. So I'll be able to put like, I've got Specsavers eye test, label diamine bottles. I can make this to-do list much like a, any to-do list, a dot list. So put a dot, write a task, put a dot, write a task, cross it off as it goes, but also it's a reference point throughout the entire month so that I can come back to this list, and there's enough room here for 2 columns. And I just use the lines as they come through from the back of the page. Each day I reference this. So when I go to set up each day, and I've got here the 1st of January, there are a number of things I reference. So while I use iCal and Google calendars and things for, having, connection with, family and knowing all that kind of stuff, knowing when, what my daughter, needs and those kinds of things, like when her gymnastics classes are, or those kinds of things. A lot of that I also put into here. I prefer to have a paper diary, so I'm always consulting that and making sure that the week that I'm coming into is up to date. So I reference that the week. I look at on the day, and then I transfer those things into here. So like, I can't remember, like let's say it was on the 1st, there was a rehearsal from 12 till 4. I put that mark in. And I do this every day. This is done on the morning of the day. It takes 5 minutes and this page gets done. And I've done this similar things to this in other planners where I have used the planner, like as a daily sort of, bullet journal migration to know what the day has to be. Because if I write it in, I don't miss anything and it's all fresh in my mind. So we've got space for that. Then on the other side here, you'll notice that like the page is sort of separated. There's a little bit of a stronger line just through here. This becomes the daily to-do list. So let's say I was going to, book the eye test and print music. Whatever the case may be, I can do that. I consult the monthly list. I can write it in on here. The beauty of this process also is that I can, if I know that on the 16th of May, that I have to do that's when I need to book in blood tests or whatever, I can flip forward, I can put it on the daily list for that day. It's very, having them sort of set out like that in a to-do list on that day, referencing this, I consult it, and it helps me to know what I'm doing. Under here, so like you've got from sort of like 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. as the day through here. Under here is where I put my social media stuff for the day. I like to plan that out, and sometimes I'll plan that ahead as well. So I might go once again to the 16th of May and say I need to post a photo about this particular pen, if that's what needs to be done. So I can list under here like YouTube, Hobonichi, and I can make sure everything's posted on that day. I then have to like put the Instagram and the Reddit. That kind of thing. Also under here, I can list, sort of, like it's not just the stationary ones. It's like if I need to do, like a music post or something like that as well. Or sometimes if I'm doing like a month of this particular thing, like Inktober or something like that, I'll write the prompts in ahead. In here, so when I turn over and I, it's 6 a.m. with my coffee in one hand and I open up my planner, I can see today I have to do that one and I have to post this. So it gives you a very nice open way of presenting the page. Now you will notice at the top here, there are these 5 squared, I don't know how visible they will be, these 5 squared to-do spots. This for me is where I list the music that I'm working on, because I do like to schedule out ahead what music I'm going to work on, particularly in busy periods. So I can write, let's just say Marriage of Figaro or whatever the case is. And then when I have done my work on that, whatever the work, if it might just be translation. I've got to work on the translation of that so that I know what I'm singing about. When I've done that for the day, I can cross it off. So you get like that satisfaction of crossing things off. Once the eye test is done, I can cross that off. Oh, I've done that Instagram, I've done that Reddit. The satisfaction of actually doing that is great, but also having it all in front of you and having to set this up kind of every day. It's not blank every day because you do pre-plan things, but if I don't get that done, on the first, when I flip over to the second, in order to set up, on that day, I can look, oh, well, I didn't finish the print music, so I can put that over here. So I'm using it in a lot of ways like a bullet journal, without having sort of that rolling day thing, because the daily setup of having the schedule, the social media, and then the to-do list makes it very, very, easy to follow. And this will sit primarily open on my desk. I have things like to-do lists and stuff on my phone as I'm around, and if I need to if I remember I've got to do something, I'll jot it into the to-do list on the phone. If I have rehearsals and things like that, this will come with me. But yeah, when I'm heading to bed on the night, I put this out on my desk, and when I get up, it's one of the first things I always do is to set this up. As I said, what it does is it keeps everything fresh in my mind. It stops me from forgetting things. And it stops me from, overthinking and dwelling on things, because I can literally brain dump a list of stuff that I need to do for the month and then transfer that month to month as I need to. And day to day, I can write that to-do list. And it sort of keeps things off my mind. And you add to this through the day. And at the end of the day, of course, you either cross off what you've done, which I tend to try and cross off as I go, but you can cross off what you've done as you do it, or at the end of the day go, oh yes, I did that, oh, I didn't do that, flip over, write it onto the next day, or the next morning, write it, go, okay, yesterday I didn't complete this, and write it in. But sitting down and actually going, okay, this is, what have I got on today? Oh yes, I got that rehearsal then, and I've got this, it's all there, you see it, you're actually writing it in, and so that way it stays fresh in your mind. That for me is a big thing, because particularly like to-do lists, if I don't actually look at it and write it in, I tend to forget something, and at the end of the day I go, oh, I meant to do this, or I should have done. This way at least it's all there, and I've only got myself to blame. So that is how the planner option. The only other thing in this sort of, in the Hobonichi is you've got at the end, you've got a series of blank pages, which are handy. There's just not enough of them. So I might use these for things, like a list of videos that I want to record, or question videos, or whatever the case, things like that. Things that are sort of more, not just substantial, not little to-do lists and things, just a list of nice, handy, sort of stuff that I'm constantly working on. And then after those, you've got some extras like a little timetable page, and then some graph paper, favorites, my 100, whatever that may be, 100 favorite pens, 100 favorite inks, 100 favorite planners, whatever a list of gifts that you can get, keeping track of things like that, and then addresses for 8 people, and then some personal notes. Now, obviously, all of this is in Japanese. I don't read or speak Japanese. I tend to use things like the Google Translate app to, make sense of some of this stuff. But it's it's all handy things to have. But yes, this as a planner for the year, I think having those multiple different views of the calendar certainly makes planning very, very easy, because you can plan in the long term, in the short, medium term, and of course in the short term, day to day. I tend not to fill out this part until the morning of, so I know what I've got on, and then the to-do list is kind of more like referencing different places, like my phone, like the monthly list, the previous day, all those kinds of things, and it keeps me on track. So this is how I am going to be using my Hobonichi Techo. Simple things I carry around with it. The things over here is I use a pencil. Normally I use the Kurotoga pencil, a 0.5. It's nice and clean and simple. It's got a little eraser on it. I'll just keep some little like to-do cards, which I find really handy, particularly if I don't want to take, if I'm going out and I need a shopping list or something and I don't want to take all of this with me. And then something like this I find actually really handy. So this is just sticky note, like line sticky notes. They're from Post-it. There's a bunch of brands that do these. What I find these really useful for, and I have, in other, planners and things in the past, is if I run out of space on the to-do list, I just stick another sheet over the top and, use that as well. So super handy, super simple, in a lovely Galen leather cover. So I hope you found this video about how I'm going to be using the Hobonichi Cousin A5 to be interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button. Please get in touch if you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support my channel by sponsoring a review, providing an item for review, or discussing like loans and things like that. Please get in touch. Let's see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your planning. Enjoy the festive season and the holiday season and going into 2022, and I'll see you later.